This is the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast, hosted by David Charlton, and you're listening to this podcast to help you build your own mental toughness, or so that you can support other people or your clients better. Either way, you will learn more about developing this plastic personality trait that all but guarantees that you will perform better and lead a more prosperous life. Hi there, as this episode is released, it is 3 more sleeps till Christmas. So firstly, I'd like to wish you and your family a very happy and healthy Christmas. Now today's episode, well, it's all about gratitude, an important thing this time of year. You know, it's supposed to be a magical time of year, so people in the media tell us. However, for some people, it's also a very stressful time, where they try to meet other people's needs and expectations, and then they try to conform to what's expected of them at Christmas. So, being grateful and consciously thinking about gratitude can be a big help in this respect. And on that note, why not ask yourself this question? What am I grateful for right now? For me, it is health. After a difficult year, after my car accident in November 2022, I'm really grateful to be fully fit. Well, there or thereabouts anyway. And the fact that I can do most of the things that I like to do in my spare time. I'm also grateful for you, the listener, for tuning into the podcast over the last year. I really do hope that you've picked up some nice tips and you've enjoyed tuning in. Today's episode, well, it's my way of expressing my gratitude to some of the wonderful guests that we've had on the show. So you're going to find a compilation of inspiring takeaways today. I really do hope that you go on to enjoy it and you take some positive messages into your Christmas.
I think the most important thing you can really do is to do a thorough needs analysis. Understand what are the needs of the individuals, what are the needs of the organization, be able to kind of fully take into consideration the goals and the values of the organization. So do a thorough needs analysis. I would say the second thing is to be able to work with existing literature and research, and so that any kinds of interventions are provided in an evidence-based and practical manner that recognizes the values, the goals of the organization, the individuals involved, and the resources available. And then really relying on the way that you communicate with people. How is it that you actually disseminate the kind of information, especially around mental health, that are needed by individuals or by organizations? So a solid needs analysis, the ability to use research and available literature, and then be able to communicate that in a clear manner.
3 key takeaways. Yeah, so I suppose I think it's important to highlight that my role as a team doctor is a little bit different to a sports psychiatrist or a sports psychologist. But the things I've probably learned so far would be, I think you need a culture, a specific culture. I think a lot of it always comes from the top. And if you have that specific culture coming right from the top of the organization, I'm a big believer it really does filter down the way. I suppose in relation to the topic as well, probably a designated point of contact, whether that's for welfare, well-being, mental health, psychology, whether again that's internal, external, a combination, which I think might be, optimal for different reasons. I think that's really, really important as well for people to have that kind of point of contact to speak to. I suppose the third thing is the openness for the communication, and that filters in again with, I suppose, culture and that point of contact, whether that's through reflection, shared decision making. I suppose we spoke a bit about the story about the Ballant group, but also kind of communicating with that point of contact. I think if we've got those 3 things, then we can optimize probably the mental aspects of our athletes and support staff in an elite performance environment.
Yeah, I'll go back to the All Blacks with a haka. So it's when you move, you want to move with power, passion, and purpose, and that can be even just walking from the train station, walking from your car to office. Don't just walk on another day. Oh, it's Monday again. This is going to be a tough day. No, you stand tall, use posture, because you have to remember that emotion is led by motion. So if you sit slumpy, you're going to feel slumpy, but you get up and move and utilize the power of music as well. And you'll notice as well, if you do this at your workplace, you'll be ready to snap into action. but it's also contagious. People will go, man, what's he on? I want some of what he's got. So it becomes contagious. So more and more people. And imagine walking to an office where people are so excited to be there. And also, as I said, utilize tough times, because tough times, that's when you learn more about yourself. You learn more about yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. You learn how resilient you are, how resourceful you are, how you can look around corners from different perspectives. So, and then with that, you may have I keep forgetting that it's the listeners. I'm keeping on hydrating, because with speaking, I've been doing a lot of speaking lately and my voice is a little bit hoarse, but constantly staying hydrated is a simple way to increase your performance, both in sports and at work. Because, as a society, we're chronically dehydrated. So that's a simple way. So use your body with power, passion, and purpose. Utilize music. When obstacles come, which they do come, utilize them to your advantage and stay hydrated.
Yeah, so I guess if there were three things I'd love you to think about or to remember, the first one would be the negativity bias, in the sense that please be aware at any given moment in life, the negativity bias could hijack you. Remember that where there's good and bad, you will first focus on the bad. By being aware that this exists, you can catch yourself. You can almost have a little alarm sounding in your mind. This is what I do. I don't know if that means I'm quite strange, but I almost see and hear a flashing alarm saying, potential hijack, negativity bias. Is this a real threat, or is this my brain doing what it's evolved to do, which is to protect me from danger? Is this a real threat or just a perceived threat? Because oftentimes it's just your brain trying to keep you in the comfort zone. So once you've mastered the negativity bias, I would say the next step is beginning to create a bit of a vision of where you want to go in your life. And once again, I'd love for your listeners to take a peek at the PERMA model and think about the ways in which they can get more positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning and accomplishment in their lives. There's a really, really lovely exercise that you can do this with, and that's with Dr. Laura King's Best Possible Future Self exercise. If you Google this, you'll find a way, and it talks you through creating your future vision. If you create that vision around the PERMA model, I don't think you'll go far wrong. And the final thing that I'd love to share is, so when you've overcome that negativity bias, you have a sense of a vision of where you'd like to go, what are your unique strengths that will make all of this happen? And that's when I would really recommend taking the VIA, the Values in Action Signature Strengths Survey from the University of Pennsylvania, which you can do for free. You just need to sign up with an email address. So those would be my three takeaways.
Yeah, what would be the three key takeaways? I think the first one is ask for help when needed, and never go to bed with any pains. So again, the thing we discussed here, write it down, whatever it is, and think, who can I have a conversation with? It might be a coach, a mentor, a psychologist, a friend. There must be someone who you can talk to. So that would be the first one. The second one would be about being proactive, about building both your personal and your professional network. So don't wait to when you lose a job or going through a divorce, like what I did, but really be proactive about building these networks so that you have them ready for you when perhaps life is throwing you a lemon. Because let's face it, life is a roller coaster, and we will be up and there will be down. So let's be proactive about this. That would be the second one. The third one would be and to be positive in your life and have some goals, and bit what we spoke about there. Then I have my charity work, my social service, giving back to the community, which means I'm feeling good about myself. Then I have my self-care with my exercise, and I have a lot of goals around that, competitions and so on. That also means that I have a community of people. I'm surrounded by social activities. And then thirdly, have your work there, but balance it then between all of these matters so that you also take care of everyone around you, including your friends and family. So that would be my three key takeaways.
I guess I've banged on about this already, but set realistic expectations for your return and acknowledge your feelings and make room for them throughout that process. If you can, keep that support network in a place where there's open communication with healthcare providers, whether that's physiotherapists, psychologists, other practitioners, your teammates, your friends and family. Keep that support system operative, because it's going to be useful in terms of mitigating some of the feelings around isolation, but also it's going to help manage and buffer stress. And injury is a stressful experience, and we need to have it and pull on those resources that we have within us to navigate that. So that would be the second, just keep that social support system operative. And the third one, I think, is celebrate your small victories, visualize success, maintain that positive kind of growth-oriented mindset.
Listening is definitely one. I also have, I love an acronym. So one of my favorites is to lead with heart. So heart stands for humility, empathy, authenticity, respect, and transparency. And I think if as a leader or business owner, you can encompass those 5 key pillars, and you also, it's a sort of a nod to the fact that, you know, your team are the beating heart of your business as well. You made a mistake, you know, but show humility. If you have to have those compassionate conversations, be empathetic. You know, if there's a problem in the business or something, you need to show up authentically. Don't try and hide behind it. Respect, I don't think needs any introduction. And transparency, you know, just be open and honest and tell people how it is. So that would be one thing. And then I guess a little tool to help you if you have to prepare for a difficult conversation or interaction is to use another English acronym, use a MAP, which is manage your mindset. So make sure you're in a good mindset and frame of mind, or shift your state before you have that conversation. If you're feeling angry, calm yourself. If you're nervous, do something to build your confidence. Next one is know what you want to achieve from the conversation, to have a goal for it. And then the P stands for prepare, plan it. So that will help you make sure that you're not derailed during the conversation if it goes off track.
So I think number 1 is with stress, start trusting your gut and your intuition. And in breathwork, we talk about it as felt sense. Our body is telling us, like literally millions, if not billions, if not trillions of cells in our body are telling us that something is a wrong idea or a bad idea or we shouldn't do it. So listen to it, first of all, because often that's when we get most stressed, when we're not listening to our signals. The second thing is that learning to control your stress in the moment, right? So learning these very simple exercises to switch your breathing from activated stress breathing to belly breathing, longer breaths on the exhale, is going to be a game changer for you, not just in those emergency quick fix situations, but long term too. And then the third thing is shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth for the majority of time you're breathing. We weren't designed to breathe through our mouths. That's just a kind of backup option. And so many good things happen when we breathe through our nose that don't happen when we breathe through our mouth, that you can change your health within about 3 weeks of breathing through your nose.
It was nice to go back through the archives, and as a result, I thought I'd add in my 3 key takeaways too, after listening to some of these great insights from the people that I've interviewed. So recently, with my longer term clients, we've been sitting down, we've been reflecting on 2023, what they've achieved, what they haven't achieved, and what we've been looking at as their goals for 2024. And my job in that respect, well, it's quite nice. I get to sit back, to relax, and then to simply gently challenge. And really, you know, what we're trying to get towards here is what it is that you should be doing in 2024 and what you shouldn't be doing in 2024. So, for example, a striker that I've been supporting in football, who's a long-term client, well, she was frustrated with her form. So, a very simple thing was where we checked her expectations of herself. So that's my takeaway number 1. Check your expectations of yourself. It's a very basic lesson, if you like, in sports psychology terms. And in this respect, we went on to think about a good striker, a Premier League striker, a Mo Salah, or Harry Kane when he was in the Premier League, and what it is that they actually produce. And we got her thinking about her own expectations too. So her own expectations were to hit the target 8 times out of 10 when she's shooting, and then to go on to score 6 times out of 10. Well, my argument though was, are those expectations actually realistic? Because going back to Mo Salah and Harry Kane, well, these guys, they're hitting the target around about 5 times out of 10 and they're scoring less than 2 out of 10. So quickly she recognised she'd fallen into that trap about forgetting about expectations and really setting unrealistic expectations, which was something that we covered a long, long time ago. And often the downside of unrealistic expectations is that the players are very, very hard on themselves and they turn quite negative. And this can have an effect on motivation and training, which led into my next question, was you're frustrated with your form, and so what are you actually doing about it? And the answer was, well, I do my best in training. So we stepped back, we thought about her strengths as a striker. That was her movement, her right foot, her accuracy and power of shots, and her strength. And we got into thinking about, well, how she can improve these areas, which I got a funny look, because at the time she was simply going on autopilot in training. So that's right, we dug a little bit deeper into how she actually spends her time, and could she spend her time better? Could she stay late? Could she get there earlier before training? Could she do extras? Could she get better at some of these strengths? And then we also looked at her weaker foot, her left foot. Could she be spending more time on her left foot? So it was a case of a back to basics session, if you like. One other thing we looked at was her why. So why are you a striker? Why do you do what you do? Her response was, I love scoring goals. Scoring goals gives me lots of satisfaction and it helps the team win games. And then the questions went on, the challenging questions went on. Are you doing everything you can to score more goals? Are you doing everything you can to improve your skill set so that you can score more goals and so that you can affect the team? And like most people, she recognised that she was getting a little bit too comfortable. She'd fallen into the trap and she'd forgotten about why she does what she does and what it means to her, which is so easy as a professional footballer or a footballer at any level or whatever field that you're in. So yeah, I'd like you just to consider those 3 things. What are you expecting of yourself? Are they realistic? What is it that you're doing to improve yourself? And are you making the most of your time? And then I'm going to add in another bonus, which is, why is it that you do what you do? So that's actually 5 takeaways, not 3 takeaways. And that's all from me for today. In this final episode before Christmas Day, I really do wish you and your family a very healthy and happy Christmas, and we'll be back next Friday with a similar compilation episode. Have a wonderful Christmas.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast with David Charlton, do check out my website, sport-excellence.co.uk, and my online sports psychology resources. The Sport-Excellence website has essential resources for anyone looking to build their own mental toughness or the mental toughness of their athletes or teams, or if you want to achieve peak performance more often or optimal functioning. The Sport Excellence website has everything you need to keep moving forward and thrive. So go on, head over to sport-excellence.co.uk to find out more.